Hello, today I would like to present you how I'm archiving data for long-term storage from my Apple MacBook that's got M2 CPU into LTO5 tapes, and this process worked without any problems in year 2024. If you would be interested what kind of computer I'm using in terms of compatibility, it is MacBook Pro with Apple M2 Silicon using latest operating system Sonoma 14.3. My SAS card is Atto Express SAS H680 and the drive is Ultium IBM HH5, the half height, and it's working absolutely beautiful without any issue. I've got my LTO drive attached via Thunderbolt using external GPU that contain SAS card, and it's translating the Thunderbolt connection into SAS. You can purchase very expensive LTO enclosure that already got Thunderbolt connection, but inside you are going to find exactly the same setup that I've got. It is just put in a nicer box. I absolutely love LTO and I'm using it from times when I was working with servers, and here you can find very early tapes that I've got. And as you can see, this is LTO1 and each of those tapes contain only 100 gigabytes, and I managed to work my way up to LTO5 that contain 1.5 terabytes in each tape of uncompressed data. They've got exactly the same dimensions, and as you can see, to get some usable space, I had to use multiple tapes and span the data across. It was requiring special, very expensive software to work with, in opposition to LTO5 that use LTFS, and basically you can use it totally free. So for example, here we were using the backup exec software, and here is the LTO free. So in the server room we were using different generation of our tapes, but this is the main focus. As the LTO5 got LTFS, LTFS is absolutely beautiful because it allows you to use your tape like hard disk drive or USB drive, so you are going to see all the files inside. You can drag and drop just one, you can play something directly from tape. Of course, you are going to get extremely slow access time, since the tape needs to be rewind and positioned into correct location, but all of that is being done in the background, so you've got absolutely nothing to be worried. You just insert your tape, you mount it, and you can copy and paste files that you need, and it's working in the both ways, so you can copy in and copy out and delete. LTO tapes are extremely interesting, and at some point in time I will grab like the old generations and we are going to be tearing down drive and tape. After you insert your tape, special mechanical contraption is going to be grabbing that ending and feeding tape into spool that is inside drive and winding it there. So it's got a really small form factor and you do not have that second reel like on the VHS tape or regular cassette. Very interesting. And if you would be curious, inside there is like a 1 kilometer of tape, and if you take this into consideration, I would say the access time is absolutely amazing. If you think that you need to rewind like a 1 kilometer to get access into something, that's pretty amazing. I'm in process of rebuilding my RAID 5 array, and as you can see, I offloaded a lot of my data into those tape. Each of those got printed out contents, and every tape around 1.4 terabytes. And it was pretty painful process, and I had to do it quickly. Usually I do it from the command line interface, but this time I was looking for better and faster solution. I managed to find applications that make this process extremely easy and extremely fast under Mac operating system without using terminal and with a 100% safety. And that's because the application, after reading your data into tape, it's reading them back and making sure they are exactly the same. And this is the second safety feature, because the first one is being built into LTO drive. It is already making sure that things that you are storing are the same, and if there will be problem, it will retry to record them. So the first safety is inside drive, and the second is in the software level. So I absolutely love this, and you do not need to do any diff applications or creating MD5 SAM. Canister is also taking care of any illegal characters that you might have in your file name or path that cannot be transferred into LTO, so it's going to be encoding them. Before using Canister, of course, I had solution for it, and I was just compressing my data, just right-clicking my folder, adding it to compress, and I was transferring like a zip archive into tape. Here you do not need to waste that time, because it's going to be encoding it on the fly, and the encoding standard is pretty open, so you've got absolutely no problem in reverting your data even without paying for the software. Like in many years in future, you can mount it anywhere and you can decode it yourself. Canister is also taking care of the second biggest problem with LTFS, because since it's appear as hard disk drive, then your Mac OS Finder is going to be trying accessing it and treating like hard disk drive. And for example, it's going to be creating thumbnail. It will be trying to check how much file is in size to give you that list in the Finder. And it's going to be shoe shining and moving tape back and forth. And Canister, it's taking care of it, and it will create like a fake directory, so you can still see what's inside your tape, but without moving it back and forth. It will like read all the data at once, the indexes, and you will see the representation of all your data. And of course, before Canister, I figured out the best solution, and I was just doing it from the command line interface. So I was typing command ls to check what kind of files I've got, the CP to copy those data, and I will show you how to do it for free and how to do it with the Canister app. So let's go into my Mac computer and we are going to see. If you take a look here, we've got my Sonnet Thunderbolt eGPU enclosure that I custom fit with Atto SAS controller card. Here we've got my uninterruptible power supply that we also fix on one of my video. And here we've got our beautiful LTO5 drive that we also fit into that rack mount enclosure that I managed to purchase extremely cheap. And we are going to power it on and wait for the boot up sequence that is going to be displayed here by showing green light. So we are waiting for the test and we are waiting for the green light. As you can see, we've got our green indicator. We do not have the exclamation mark, and also nothing in the tiny screen. If we would see letter C, like clean, that would mean we have to use cleaning tape that looks like this. You just insert it, and after like 1 minute it's going to be ejected, and your drive is going to be clean, and the error code is going to be disappearing. But since we are good to go, we are going to be inserting our LTO5 cartridge. This tape was not used with LTFS system, so it's going to be requiring formatting, and I will show you how to do it. But first we are going to be inserting it. You go very gently, and at some point in time the mechanical electronic is going to be taking control. So you go like this, and it's going to be eating that by itself and feeding the tape. So it is quite nice. And let's go to the computer. Now on our computer we are going to be running application called Canister. First, it's making sure that we've got all components required for running, like drivers to the LTO, that the LTO drive is being visible. We've got everywhere green, and we are good to go. First, we go to our retrieve, and as you can see, here is my LTO5 drive. We go here, and as you can see, we can eject our tape or format. If that tape would contain LTFS, we would get more options, and we are going to name it ENB just for test, and the format is of course LTFS. We go erase, is going to be destroying all the contents and creating partitions. So let's give it a moment. As you can see, the tape is being mounted, and after doing that, we will be able to back up our data into that tape. So let's give it a moment. As you can see, it finished our mounting process. If you go here, as you can see, we've got more options, but we go into our archive. Then we need to find some files, so let's go with the movies. And here we've got some memories from childhood. I will just drag and drop them here. We've got 2.9 gigabytes. We hit next. We select our drive. We've got just one. And we've got 1.4 terabytes free space. So we go next. And we are starting our transfer. And now our data are going to be archived into tape. And after that, it's going to be reading them back and making sure they are exactly the same. Here you can see the transfer speeds. So we are over 100 megabytes, like in sustain. As you can see, it's going absolutely beautiful. And we are almost done. And now we are going to be making sure that the data was written correctly. And yes, LTO, by design, it's making sure that data are being stored correctly, but this is the second check on the software level. And I absolutely love it when I'm archiving my data, because I would like to be 100% sure everything looks great. And if we are going to get green check mark, then the tape is going to be ejected and it's safe for storage, for a long-term archival. So just take a look. It should be ejected in a couple moments. And as you can see, the tape was ejected and we've got green bar showing completed, and we can store it for our archival. Let's delete all our videos and I will empty my bin. We go to the empty, and as you can see, we deleted everything. Since all my data is gone, here we've got our archive copy. We are going to feed it. And we are going to run our Canister app and give it a moment to mount our tape. We go to the retrieve, just like that, and we hit mount. Here you've got the name, and it's mounting it. So we are going to give it a moment. By default, everything that is stored on that tape is being selected, and as you can see, we've got 2.9 GB of data. If that would be multiple projects and I just need one, we can go into select files and select a single file, but I would like to retrieve everything. And here we can select our destination. I can grab that folder called movies, drop it here, and as you can see, we've got a lot of free space. We go next, we start the transfer, and now it's reading back from our tape, storing it into solid state drive inside the Mac, and it's also going to make second verification. And here you can see the sustained transfer speed. We are almost like using hard disk drive, but in reality, we are using mechanical tape. And here is the verification process. It's going to be making sure that everything was read completely error-free. Absolutely beautiful. As you can see, it is completed and all our data was successfully restored, and we can play them back. Just take a look. Everything is here. So in my personal opinion, that application is absolutely amazing and I 100% recommend it. Now I will present you how to do exactly the same for free. As you can see, I've got totally different tape. That tape also do not contain any file system, so we are going to be repeating all steps that are required. So we are feeding our tape. But now, instead of opening Canister, we are opening Terminal, and we are going to be typing our magic command that is called mk LTFS, so make file system, device 0, and it's going to be always 0 because I've got just one drive. And when we are not going to be seeing any activity, we just hit enter, and now it's going to be creating our LTFS partition on tape. In the terminal window, we've got a lot of debug information, but basically you do not need to read anything except of the end information that it was successfully. So those are debug info that are not needed. And we can see our partition and that the medium was formatted successfully, but we cannot access it because we need mounting point and we need to mount it, and that's also is going to be happening from the command line. Here we are going to be creating just empty folder and calling it tape. We open new terminal window and we are going to be mounting it with command LTFS open device name equals 0, and it's going to be always 0 when you've got one drive. And now our mounting point, I will just drag and drop it, and we hit enter. And now our tape is going to be mounted into that folder. So give it a moment, and we are waiting for the info about that command being executed successfully. As you can see, it was mounted successfully. We've got information that it is using the Mac Fuse. We double click it, and now we can go into our downloads, into our movies. We can select our movies. We can just copy and paste it. This is how beautiful it's working with the LTFS on Mac. but it's got a lot of problems and it is extremely slow because Mac is going to be trying to create like a thumbnail or get the file size, so it's going to be much slower than using the Canister app, but it's going to be working absolutely beautiful. So just give it a moment. You can see like the first movie was already completed, the rest is waiting, and let's give it a moment. As you can see, our drive stopped writing and we are good to go. We can move back and unmount our LTFS tape. We hit that button and it's going to be making sure that the all data are written into the partition, basically like a flash, and our disk should be ejected. And this step is critical because it's making sure all the data are being written into the partition, like flash from the cache. The tape is going to be wind up. And as you can see, it disappears. We can go back to our drive and we can safely hit eject. And we can remove our tape. And we are going to be, of course, repeating exactly the same process. I will delete all files. We are going to be recover them from tape. And here, as you can see, the tape was ejected. We go into our movies and we are going to be deleting everything, and I'm going to empty my bin. And now we would like to restore our data. We are going to be grabbing our tape from archive. We are going to feed it just like that. And we are going to be opening back our terminal. Let me open the new window. And we are going to be mounting it. LTFS, open, device name 0. And we are going to be mounting it into folder called tape. We go like this, we hit enter, and we are waiting for it being mounted. We give it a second, we should get our As you can see, it's being mounted. We can double click it. And what is quite interesting, we've got ability to playback directly from tape. So we can right click it, and yes, we are going to be waiting until the tape and the read head is going to be positioned properly. So it is extremely slow. We do not have the random access. It is extremely linear, but it's going to be working just fine, trust me. We are going to be open our right click, and I figure out the best way to do it, the free way, by using terminal. And we are going to be playing it back with the VLC. And the same thing, we need to position our tape, find the correct track. And after that, we are going to be playing it back smoothly. And as you can see, we are playing it back, and we've got absolutely no problem, no drop frames, and that's because this movie is linear, so everything that is going to be in future, it's going to be read in like a linear way. that the tape was designed. And of course we can jump somewhere else and the tape needs to be rewind, and as you can see it's working fine. We are waiting for the tape to move and it's playing back. Absolutely beautiful. But we are going to be grabbing our movies, we are going to be right clicking them, and yes, we are waiting for it to happen. So the best way is to do it from terminal, because it's not creating any thumbnails, it's not trying to get like a file size, and in my opinion is the fastest way. But we go like this, we go back to our movie folder, right click, paste, and now we are retrieving our data from that tape into hard disk drive, absolutely for free without need for the canister. And as you can see, everything was copied successfully and we can play it back from this hard disk drive. So this is how you can work with the LTO tape for free. So basically this is how easy you can work with LTO drive using latest Mac OS system and Apple Silicon. Absolutely 100% compatibility and everything is working fine. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you find it interesting. See you next time and bye bye.